So this question wants us to figure out which graph has the smallest value of b. So what I'd recommend for this and for a lot of graphing programs is graphing questions is use desmos.com/calculator. Okay, and then we can play around with some numbers. Like to make the function that they're talking about, it's supposed to be some number times another number that's raised to the x power. So just 2 times 3. And then to get that exponent key, I'm going to hit Shift and then press the 6 key. It's the button that looks like this on in the top part of your 6 key on your keyboard. Okay, that gets you an exponent, and we want to put x up there. And so there's a graph of an exponential function. And we can change b. We can make b b4, b5, b6, b7. See, the higher that b gets, the steeper the line is. Right? It has a much bigger incline. If we make b smaller, like let's start at 5, then 4, then 3, then 2, the hill is getting a little flatter. Then maybe 1.5, 1.2, 1.1, and now at 1, it's perfectly flat. B can get even smaller though, right? If you have a b that's between 0 and 1, like a 0.9 or 0.8, the graph changes directions. Instead of increasing from left to right, now it's going down from left to right. So you can see that when b gets really, really small, like really close to 0, like 0.1 or 0.001, then the hill gets really, really steep. And if you make b get closer to 1, you got a pretty flat hill. Okay, so in order to preserve like the integrity of this question, I can't answer this one for you. You got to play around with Desmos and come up with a solution, because there's not enough randomizations of this one. I don't even know how many randomizations they have for it, but play around with those numbers. Try to make maybe a graph that looks like E, like maybe 1.1 looks like E, and then you could try to make a graph that looks like A. We saw that was when you had like something between 0 and 1. So maybe flatten it out a little bit, you can get it closer. And then you got to make your decision, okay? The question is which gives us the smallest value for B. And notice I'm using the same A every time. To make these, here, I'll just show you what A does. A is just like the y-intercept of an exponential function. Look, it's 2, it crosses at 2 on the y-axis. When it's 3, it crosses at 3 on the y-axis. When it's -1, it crosses at -1 on the y-axis. -2, so A is like the y-intercept. Okay, so I'm sorry I'm not able to directly answer this type of question, but hopefully that Desmos tool and the playing around that we just did gives you enough information to solve this one. I guess one last hint before we leave this. Like what's the question for this one was which one's smaller for B. In this exponential function, b is 2. In this exponential function, 0.5. 0.5 is smaller than 2, right? So you want to find the graph that gives you the smallest value for b. And look, when I get really, really small, I get a really, really steep graph, but it's going down from left to right.